Do you want to leave your job? Are you looking for the right asset class for your investments? Have you made some real estate investments but looking for the right strategy to win? I'm Matt Barge, boutique hotel investor and operator, and I'm going to walk you through a core concept that I learned that's been incredibly illuminating, which is, should you optimize for cash flow or equity? And this is something that has taken me years to learn at a really core fundamental level, because this is really the bedrock underneath which every asset class you look at, every investment you look at, every property you look at, every market you look at, it really touches everything that you could think about. And that is optimizing for cash flow or equity. So let's jump in and talk about where you are today. So most people fall into one of a few buckets, and it's really, in today's world, you really start with optimizing for the 100K job. You need to be making $100,000 in your job. If you're not doing that, you should do that. And it's really built around finding skills and building skills to generate at least $100,000 a year in income. Once you've done that and you have that money coming in and you're kind of like, all right, like I have some proceeds at the end of the day after all the bills are paid, what do I do with that? And that's probably where you are. So like you're probably watching this video going like, gosh, like, I have a job, I've maybe made a real estate investment so far, I've gotten some experience, or maybe I'm thinking about making that real estate investment. And the next question is, what do you want to do? You want to replace your job with cash flow. Everybody talks about this. It's like, I don't want to work. It's not that you don't want to work anymore, but it's just that, or provide any utility or value to society, but it's just that you don't want to be on the hook for going back to work the next day because it's costly. It takes a lot of time and energy. There are lots of reasons for it. And so how do you replace your job? How do you replace your job? How do you walk away from your job? And what people are looking to do is replace their job with cash flow. As in, like, you want to match the passive income. As in, what you want to do is match your passive income to your current active income. And so that way, at least if you decided to leave your job, you would have the same income coming in. So what do people do? What do they do to get that kind of cash flow? The next step is really replacing your job with cash flow, with passive income. So, what does that mean? It means that, you have the same amount of income coming in passively as you are generating actively from your job. What does that allow you to do? It allows you to leave your job. Leave your job. Isn't that great? So what do people do to do that? Like, what do? They do lots of different things. Probably you've done single family home. You maybe bought your own house or you bought a rental house, like an individual house, single family home. That's a really common strategy. There's also, some people do stocks, some people do crypto. Some people, for the kind of more advanced player, they might have invested in multifamily, you might have invested in syndication or something like that. How do all these stack up? So like all these things have, they have advantages and disadvantages, but what they all actually have in common is they have really low cash flow. So like what's really interesting about this is that here you are, like you've optimized your job, right? You've got $100,000 at least coming in income, and you're like, all right, you're like scraping, $1,000 or $2,000 a month every month to put it into that investment fund. And so you've been doing that for a while. And what did you do? You took all of that and you pumped it into something. Single family homes, you might be lucky to generate a couple hundred, like $200 a month in cash flow. So you just saved up $15,000, $25,000 in order to get back $2,000 a month in cash flow. So that's not a winning strategy for what we're trying to do. Now, that single family home over time can appreciate. If you did a good job picking it out, it can appreciate over a number of years, and when you sell that, it can over that entire period, it could have at that final step yielded what would be $2,000 a month in cash flow. But you weren't going to get that until until the market's gone up, until the market's good, and you finally sold it, so on and so forth. So not the best, not the most effective strategy for what we're trying to do. There are also stocks which don't generate any cash flow. Crypto, I don't even know about that stuff, so can't help you there. And then multifamily can generate some cash flows, but you're really looking at like $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month per property. And so if you're part of that property, let's say you have like a quarter of that property, that's like, $500, for example, per month in cash flow. So it's not going to get us to really where we're wanting to go. We aren't getting enough cash flow. And it's so important to understand this now before you go ahead and make these decisions about where you're going to put your money, because it's huge differences. They're giant differences. And you can spend years. You can spend years of your life doing this. Working again, getting up this morning to go to work, to start the cycle over again. And it's really painful. I can tell you for myself, like I worked for years and scraped off $1,000, $2,000 a month to buy that first house. And actually when I bought that first house, I started doing Airbnb. I ended up, it was just by chance, I ended up living there for free and netting $1,000. It's basically like the, kind of the fourplex strategy of sorts, or house hacking you might have heard. It's a really effective strategy. So I kept doing that and kept working for years where I'd buy one house per year. And so over about 5 years, at the end of that, I sold my houses and had a pile of cash. But I actually didn't have any cash flow because I kept reinvesting. I mean, I did have cash flow, I kept reinvesting. I kept working. So, working, still had to work that whole time and put money away into the investments. And so I want you to really understand, like, what are we doing here? It's like you're putting significant amounts of money, which is really time and energy. And these are huge. It's like you really want to get this right. Like you don't want to mess this up because you're talking about your life, the people in your life, your time, your energy. This is so critical to get this right, to understand this before you make these decisions. So again, we're optimizing for cash flow initially. So to get this second step, we're looking at how can we maximize cash flow. That's really the name of the game. It's like you can't leave your job until you've hit a certain amount of cash flow. So what do I have? I actually have something to offer you in this way because I've been there, done that. I'm Matt Barge, boutique hotel investor and operator. Just so you know, used to be a software developer. I started doing Airbnb 7 years ago. I bought my first house and started doing it there. Built up single family homes over a period of time. Had some clients. Sold all my houses. I bought a 10-plex. I bought a 10-unit building in downtown Dallas. It's done really great. Renovated it. I actually bird it. So I bird it, refinanced it. I bought a hotel, a 20-unit hotel earlier this year. And so I've really gone through this whole process. Like I've gone through the very beginning to some of the initial investments, buying single family houses, doing Airbnb, doing multi-unit short-term rental, and finally doing hotel. And what I can tell you is that boutique hotel is really the best. It's the strongest. It's actually an incredible opportunity for a number of reasons, but most importantly, it really addresses this core need that you probably have watching this video, which is how can I leave my job? How can I generate enough cash flow? How can I do it? What way am I going to be able to do this? You can do it with boutique hotels. I've done it. Let me show you. So, boutique hotels, why does this? Actually, I'm going to jump straight into the example just so you can get a juicy example so you understand what we're talking about. I bought a hotel. Hotels right now in today's market, you actually get pretty cheap. The economics work in your favor. I bought a 20-unit hotel in Texas on the 35 highway for $275,000. It was abandoned. It was actually haunted. It wasn't really hot. I didn't believe that. But Bonnie and Clyde used to stay there. No one would touch it. I bought it for $275,000, 20 units. and I used $129,000 cash, my own money, to buy it. I did seller financing, and I also borrowed partially for the renovation, renovated it. It's generating $5,000 a month, month in, month out in cash flow. And when I say cash flow, I'm not one of these YouTubers out there who's like, it's generating $5,000 cash flow. Oh wait, no, that's actually revenue. Like, I'm not talking about top line. I'm talking about when all the bills are paid, when your loan is paid, when your property taxes are paid, when the operating, like all the utilities are paid. I'm talking about cash flow. I'm not talking about revenue. I will tell you if we're talking about revenue. I'm talking about cash flow. In your pocket cash flow, $5,000 a month. Hi, I'm Matt Barge, hotel investor and operator. I started doing Airbnb 7 years ago and have tried everything to make that model work, and I can tell you firsthand, it's terribly flawed. Airbnbs are too saturated. You're paying too much for the asset. They're regulated. You're not even allowed to do Airbnb anymore in many areas, which is only increasing. And when you go to sell it, it's worth the same as the house down the street. That all changed when I transitioned to hotels. What if I could tell you, you could pay a quarter of the price per door? If you'd be allowed to operate no matter the regulation, in fact, regulation works for you, and the more you optimize your property, the more your property is worth. What would you want to say? I've gone through this transformation firsthand, and I can tell you it's completely changed my business. Now, we built a program to help you do the same for you and your business. We are going to cover how to find these properties, how to underwrite them, how to finance them, how to renovate them, how to vet and assemble your team, and how to launch and operate them. We're gonna give you all the tools and tricks and knowledge that I've accumulated over years of experience built into one program where you can go from zero to hero in the most efficient path possible. So if this sounds like something you wanna learn more about, follow us and get in touch with us today. It appraised for $850,000, and it's now, I have it up for sale for 1.1. This now, just so you understand, like, I live in Austin and I live in a comfortable apartment. I'm paying $1,900 per month for rent. At $5,000 per month of cash flow, that is a meaningful cash flow. That's a life-changing cash flow. That is something really amazing. Like that's game-changing. And that's what's possible with boutique hotels. That's why I want you to see and understand about boutique hotels, which is, you might have heard that, oh, Airbnb, you can make a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. That might have been true, and I saw it tapering off 3 years ago, and that's why I started to shift and why I have this experience to bring to you, which is super cool. So, it is what it is. Airbnb has tapered off. It's actually problematic for a few reasons. One is economics. You might notice you have to buy, in order for you to win on Airbnb, you have to have a property that's truly differentiated, that's very differentiated. It could be like location, features, so on and so forth. But in order to buy that Airbnb house or Airbnb property, you have to buy something that's expensive. And not only that, so you're losing on economics. Not only that, but Airbnb, they've done Airbnb crackdowns across the US, and it's only increasing. The places and the number of places that they're limiting, that they're banning in some cases. So you need to be really aware of that. This could completely change it could change everything for you. If you invest in Airbnb and all of a sudden you realize, oh wait, I can't do it anymore. I mean, you've shot your investment. You're at least gonna have to pay transaction costs a second time to sell that investments to get out of it. So you're losing on economics, you're losing on legal, and you're also losing on valuation and I know this because the Airbnb houses that have gone up over time have gone up just because the market went up. They didn't go up because of Airbnb and because it was significantly increased, like you were significantly increasing the rent. And I know what I'm talking about because I talk to both buyers, I talk to lenders, I talk to realtors and brokers, It's not going up because of that. So again, you're losing here if you do Airbnb, and people like this was a good option. But that time has long passed. If you're watching this video, you need to think ahead. If you're watching this video today, you should not be trying to say, well, actually, it's still pretty kind of good right now. You should be looking toward this next thing, because by the time that you go out and find that next property and actually go and go through all of it and acquire it, set it all up, then you're starting in that market, and then you're only going to so you want to look ahead. You need to look ahead. And I want you to look ahead to boutique hotels, which is, in summary, the cash flow is very strong compared to these other investment vehicles. Single family house, really low cash flow. It does have some nice appreciation prospects if you do a good job with where you buy. Stocks, crypto, multifamily, like these do not generate significant cash flow. But it's not just that. It's also boutique hotels appreciate. They also appreciate, and they actually appreciate in two ways. One is a forced appreciation, which is unlike Airbnbs, boutique hotels appreciate their value is income based. So the better job you do running it and managing it, the more it's worth. Airbnb, that's not the case for Airbnbs. You can, and I know this because I sold mine, is that you can dress them up and all this stuff. Doesn't make them more, furniture and decor and stuff, doesn't make them more attractive. You don't get a higher sales price just because it's bringing more money. If you were to be bringing more money on Airbnb, boutique hotels you do, because they are income based, because they do look at the financial statements. And so if, again, and it's not just that, just not actively managing it, but it also just goes up with the market. It just does. Real estate slowly rises. So again, you benefit from both cash flow and appreciation. So not only are you getting bumper cash flow, amazing cash flow, you're also getting appreciation just like any other real estate vehicle. And in another way, you're buying a business with an asset. An asset's really good because it kind of stabilizes the investment value, which is even without the business, you still have that asset. It's really good compared to, a small business or, other kind of business. So what does all this mean? Okay, this is all great information, but how do I do, great, boutique hotels, how am I going to possibly do a hotel? It's actually easier than you thought. If you thought about doing an Airbnb, if you've done an Airbnb and you've had some success with it, if you've thought about, building your Airbnb, you can do a boutique hotel. And the reason I'm telling you is I've done it. So many people have done it. And after all this experience and all this knowledge that I've gained, I'm doing something really special, which is I'm offering a program, Host a Hotels, where I'm going to teach you to go from zero to hero. We're going to do a transformation. So we're going to take you from beginner to full boutique hotel investor operator. It's actually easier than you probably think. I have all the tools, all the knowledge. What does this mean? I'm going to teach you how to find them. Where do you find these properties? Where are they? Where are the right places to look? Where are the wrong places to look? How do you underwrite them? How do you value them? When you look at a property, how do you decipher, is this a good deal? Is it a bad deal? How do you finance them, right? How do you finance them? How do you renovate them? And how do you operate them? What software what's the right way to do this? How do you do it? How do you put everything together? This is all possible. I've done it myself, and I can show you how to do it. I also, the way that I'm doing this program is something really special as well, which is, I think what you can tell is what I want you to understand is there are so many options and there are so many different permutations and kind of ways that you can go about this, but it's so important to know where it is you want to go. Where it is you want to go. What I mean is, you don't want to, These people who have done the single family homes and so on and so forth, you can talk to them. They'll probably tell you like, oh, they'll probably give you some kind of response like, yeah, like I've got them, but they don't, it hasn't really changed their life. It's good, it's great, it's there, but, and when they went in, they thought, hey, I'm gonna make this investment, it's gonna pay off, it's gonna be great, and then, years later, it's like, it hasn't really changed their life. It hasn't really changed their life. But this can. This really can. Because the cash flow is significant enough that it is life-changing, that it is game-changing. And so, like for me, I use $129,000 cash. I could actually do it with less if I really wanted to. So, disclaimer, this is like, I'm only working with serious people. So if you're serious about this, if you're serious about success, and if you really want to do this, come with me. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to show you how to do all this, and I'm going to help you. We're going to work together, which is I'm going to take you past the wreckage of all these failed, they're not really failed strategies, but they're really just not enough. They're really just not enough because they don't yield what we're looking to do. Once you get past this replacing job with cash flow step, which again, is the most game-changing step, when you can walk away from your job and live. And then it's not just that, that's just really when it starts. Like, I hope you're watching this video and be like, wow, I need to really start this. I should start the program now, because this is really just the beginning, which is like, now you're detached and now you can really apply yourself. And again, you can do whatever you want. If you want to paint all day, if you want to learn a lot more real estate, if you want to, be able to spend your time doing more networking, evaluating more properties, so on and so forth, getting investors or whatever, go for it, whatever you want to do. But you're free to do that. And so, but again, this is really like the initial step. Once you do this, once you get out of this cycle, then you really have the freedom and the choice to choose and decide what you really want to do. But until you've done that, you're kind of locked. You're kind of locked in. So again, this is something that I'm able to offer you that can really change your life. So you can go to www.hostahotels.com. That's right here. That's our website. You can schedule a discovery call with me. Again, Matt Barge, boutique hotel investor and operator. Schedule a discovery call. It's a 15-minute call. We'll get to know each other briefly and see if this is a mutual fit. And hit me up. So I'm releasing this here on YouTube. I'm really excited to offer this to you. Again, it's gonna be live calls. So I'm gonna be sharing with you everything I have, everything I know, and I'm here to help you. I really want to help you get to that next level, really help you kind of understand. The purpose of this video is to really help you understand what's going on. I hope this kind of illuminated some things for you. Again, like, simple is better. You can tell people who really know what they're talking about, simple is better. Just simple concepts, simple fundamentals. We're going to focus on fundamentals here, which are like, we can get into, there are all kinds of ways that we can design your path based on, what market you want, the vision, like the kind of property you have in mind, how many units it is, how easy it is to, like what the labor market is like in the area. There are all kinds of things that we can calibrate, that I calibrate for myself. We can calibrate for you, with you. We're going to do this together, but I want you to really see what's possible here. And again, this all comes down to optimizing for cash flow or equity, is that it's so important. It's like, if you do one of these other investments, you're putting money in, and getting just a little bit of cash flow back, and you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck until further notice. Like, you can't do anything. All you can do is hold until the market tops out. Hopefully you time it really well and you sell then. And then what do you do? Because the market's still high, you need to wait until it goes back down to be able to buy. You want something like this that's that's going to get you to where you want to go. Once you get to this replacing job with cash flow step, and once you've done that, then it's like, okay, cool. Like now we can take a breath. And now we look at, okay, what do we actually, like for me, I'm optimizing for equity now. I've done optimize for cash flow. So now I can go on to another step, which is I want to build my cash base bigger so that I can do more. Another $1,000 per month in cash flow, while it's nothing to sneeze at, it's like that doesn't really move the needle for me. And so I hope you learned something from this video. Again, hostahotels.com, schedule a discovery call with me. This is a really, really fundamental lesson, fundamental understanding about real estate and real estate investments. Hope this is helpful. Hit me up. I'm also on Instagram at the Matt Barge, and talk to you guys soon.